All right, guys. I was just doing the countdown in my Facebook comments. I'm organizing a lot of windows here because we have a surprise for you guys, and it's not really a surprise if you already know what it is. We're going live today. Marcin here. If you're watching this for the first time, I'm Marcin. I've done photography for the last 17 years, and every Thursday at 12 o'clock, I go online and I share you guys already know, for those that have been here before, there's no one silver bullet to make this business work. It's just a lot of golden BBs. You got to put this puzzle together and make it work. If you're trying to make money with photography, there's a lot of things. And unfortunately, when I started, I didn't know what those things were. So I learned as I kind of went along, and it was just books and videos and outdated courses and contracts from 1997 written by lawyers that are probably no longer alive. But it was tough at the beginning, and that's why I'm trying to get you there faster. And I'm basically sharing everything from a mindset to camera to editing to client meetings to business components. Make sure you price your packages right, you have the right contracts in place so you protect you and the client. And then we talk about social media, content strategy. There's a lot to cover every week. It's usually between 30 to 40 minutes. I'm here, and both YouTube, when I say here, it's both YouTube and Facebook. And you have an option to ask questions. So with that being said, if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, you can actually do live commenting. There's a chat box on each platform. And if you're not watching live, if you're watching later, always leave a comment, because it's super easy for me then to kind of structure content for this course for every Thursday, knowing where the pain points are. So if you guys are stuck somewhere, leave me a question. I take it then, and I usually address it the next week, next week or the week after that. So that's super helpful. But without further ado, we always have a topic, right? The main topic for the session. And before I tell you about the topic, before we revisit that, let me just take a quick look, make sure YouTube is fully operational. Everything seems good. All engines go. So let's talk about the topic. The topic today is what's today's topic? Today's topic is event formal sessions. So what we're talking about today is for those of you that are starting, and it's like maybe you have portraits are super easy because you have one person that you're dealing with, and more or less you can sort of stumble through it, and you can kind of figure it out. When it gets to groups, like when you deal with two people, people that never have been in front of the camera, when you have a family, when you have kids, when you have a large group of people, things get a little challenging. And I got to tell you, even though I did it for 17 years, I'm not the best at it, but I know who is. So I figured today I will actually bring somebody with me that has done this for 17 years. And I'm always in the awe of like how she's doing this, because Joanna, my wife, has been there with me along the way. And she has the special sauce, right? So I figured probably the best way to do it is to bring somebody that manages people, because it's really a people business, to bring her on and ask her questions. And so like if you are wondering like what questions to ask, what do I say, how do I make them comfortable, like how do I arrange family pictures, Joanna is the person that you should ask. So let's do that. I'm gonna bring Joanna. She's in the waiting room here, and let's see if she's still alive. Hi, Joanna.
Hi, Mr. Marcin.
Did you like the introduction? I was trying to hype you up. Hopefully it worked.
Thanks.
Hey, listen. So hi. We're not at the wedding, but we're going to talk wedding stuff. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
So it's not really weddings. And I wanted to. I know I have some questions that I've drafted, but like, if you want to expand on something here, let me know. And when I talk about aligning people, dealing with people on the spot, like we have done engagement sessions, we have done, weddings is probably the most challenging because you're dealing with a lot of people, and you probably have to be super loud. But we have dealt with smaller groups, bigger groups, and that's what I wanted to focus on today. And the reason is people don't people don't pose every day to day, right? They some of them
Yeah.
deal with photography first time in their life, and maybe less. Who knows? And I know when we always when we're always getting together with people, you have this protocol that you execute. Let me start with some questions, and then let's see where it goes. Okay.
Sounds good.
And you know what? Just for fun, let me see if I can take one of those questions and pop it on the screen. It may not work, but I'll still try it. So let me see if I can, if I include a comment here on Facebook, let's see if it comes through. Give me just 1 second. And let's see if we can see it here. Can we see it or not? Give me 1 sec. This will take a little bit of time. Hold on. You know what? Let's skip that. First question was this: how do you help a couple stay present and enjoy the moment, even if they feel nervous or shy? So like they just went through like ceremony. Everybody's like kind of freaking out. Couple is going 150 miles an hour during a wedding day, and now you're like you need to literally calm them down, and everybody's standing around. Like, I don't know, what do you say?
Yes. So the first thing that I do is I grab the couple after the ceremony. We then do our formal pictures, all right? So
Yeah.
I grab the couple, and they're the first ones that I align, and they are the first ones that I have their attention one on one with them.
Mhm.
And I sort of align them at the same time, but I also keep a conversation with them, and I block all the noise that's behind me, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, you guys, I'm going to put you here in the middle. This is the position you're going to stay. I explain
Hmm.
to them what I will be doing, such as, we'll be bringing in parents one by one. I will go with our standard protocol of how we do these setups, but at any time, please let me know how you want to change it.
Hmm.
If I still see that they're like all over the place and not paying attention to me, I bring
Yeah.
them back to me by either complimenting the flowers, asking them where the flowers are from.
Yeah. Yeah.
This breaks them from what's going on, and they have to answer my question. And everybody loves talking about the choices that they've made for
Yeah.
this day.
Yeah.
So that is my one-on-one time with them.
And how do you sort of segue into it? So you basically like our style is not to pose people, quote unquote, like not not we're not trying to replicate some, even if we have ideas for different shots. We don't like try to exactly imitate what we see right on our cheat sheets, which we want to talk about in a second. But when you get them into like a standard pose, like you don't, from what I see at least, standing with the camera, like you're not trying to make it complicated for the first round. It's more of like just kind of stand next to each other at an angle, and like that kind of gets them going. I know as we progress, you kind of change the requests, but like, is that like the go-to first thing that you do?
Correct. So it's great if you get a chance already to work with a couple for their engagement session before
Mhm.
that, so you already know what they work like. Some people just, it comes naturally. You kind of tell them what to do and they just do it naturally.
Mhm.
Some people are not photo people, right? They just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So again, it's having that conversation with them, it's getting them to open. At our engagement session, we will talk about different things, during the wedding, different things. But basically, even if I have an idea in my head, I
Mhm.
sort of position them to how I want it. But a lot of the explaining of the time is me doing the poses myself in front of them. As well as sometimes, I grab you to do a pose. If
Yeah.
I see that somebody's not understanding,
Yeah.
or I do try things, I push as much as I can. And my last resort always with that is just to grab you and do the pose with you so they see what I'm talking about. If that still doesn't work, you could see right away that they don't feel comfortable. You
Mhm.
tell them, okay, how would you make this so you feel comfortable? Right,
Yeah.
get put it right back on them. So I love the poses of the bride or the engagement session with your hip out, your hand on your shoulder. I think I love that look for a woman. But not everybody feels
Yeah.
natural with
Yeah.
that. So if I propose that and I see they feel uncomfortable, I leave it up to them. I'm like, okay, so how would you do this to make it comfortable?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people know their bodies, they know what they feel comfortable with. And once you see that for 2, 3 shots, you then know what you can and cannot do with them.
Yeah, true. And to add to that, there's a lot there's a lot to unpack here, even with the first question. But the thing is, yes. So like you were saying, not they know what works, or sometimes we see it, and we still encourage couples. Like we don't say like, ah, no, that didn't work. Like that would just discourage everybody, right?
Mhm.
So we still like, okay, the way I have, even when I do family photos or engagement photos, right? When you're not there, it's almost like you keep them sort of on the same frequency. Like no matter what happens, even if something doesn't work, you're just like, okay, great, okay, good, let's move on to the next one. And
Yes.
I tell them anyway, either during consultation or even after, or sometimes during, if I see that like somebody's frowning or like they don't feel comfortable, or like we're pushing too far or something, I say, listen, we're just gonna try. Like this could totally bomb, and like don't worry about it because nobody will ever see them. But sometimes you do a pose and it becomes like this key shot that I feature both on the website and albums. Like so, you have to almost not just go for the safe, shots. Like sometimes you do have to experiment, right?
Correct, correct. You try it, you push it,
Yeah,
and I never let the couple know that something did not work. If even if it doesn't work, you take a couple shots. Then we tell them, okay, can you keep changing it up until something hits with the couple,
yeah.
and every time you tell them it looks great.
Yeah, 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 and I think we're jumping ahead, but also at the same time, somebody may be wondering because clients sometimes come in, and this is more from my side where they come in and they're looking for specific picture, like can you replicate this picture that I found, and I try to explain that it's the same, comes down to the same thing. We'll definitely try, but we don't guarantee that it will work because even we may photograph the same pose 15 times with 15 couples and it never looks the same. Like
Correct.
I tell my my couples, it's like couples or families or whatever, it's like we'll try, but I guarantee on the other hand that we're going to take pictures here that then another family will see at one point and would want to replicate because something looked unique and different. And it's really about capturing the family dynamic, right? Like some people are more serious. I hate when people ask me to like smile for photos, and I understand like grooms usually a lot of times it's like they just don't feel it, and it's okay because it almost looks unnatural when you tell somebody, a person that does not like to smile, like myself, to smile. It's one of those weird poses that does not reflect their personality. So totally get it. Anything else on sort of the kickoff? That was a long kickoff, but anything else there on the kickoff?
No, not really. Just one thing that is most important, I think, if you got to feel comfortable in order to make your clients feel comfortable, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
so getting working with cheat sheets, I think, is a great idea. Having cheat sheets all the time, doesn't matter how many years you've been doing that, to have them in your back pocket is great, because not every day are we on top of our things. There are days where you're just a little bit slower, you got a headache, you god knows what, your kids got you mad, whatever it is. To have those cheat sheets handy, in case, until you yourself get into it makes a world of difference and makes it comfortable for the client as well.
yeah. Which this brings us to the second question: what are your go-to poses or prompts when working with the couple during mini sessions or portraits or weddings or whatever? So, and this is specifically to cover that topic of like cheat sheets and Pinterest, and I can cover the Pinterest part because typically what I do is not only I mix in part of what we typically do, but I look outside externally. I usually end up on Pinterest and I look up poses for brides, grooms, combinations, and then I put it onto literally a piece of paper. If you're interested, if you're watching this a Facebook group or YouTube, you can actually go go onto the channel, and there's a specific episode about cheat sheets. So if you are interested, do that. But we usually carry pieces of paper, and I got to tell you, 17 years of doing this, you would think like everything is in your head, but like Joanna said, sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes you're just not creative. Sometimes it's just not your day. And having cheat sheets, and we use cheat sheets. We used to, like, I used to do it on the phone. It does not work because you have to unlock it, and it locks, and
Yeah.
it's in your pocket. It's inconvenient. Like Joanna now carries literally a piece of paper. You can fold it up. You can crumple it. Like it doesn't matter. But like it just seems to be like you can put it down even if you forget it. Like what's the you don't want to forget, you don't want to lose your phone. But like piece of paper is just a piece of paper. And we work off of those. Now what's like? How do you what happens with the cheat sheet? You have it. What do you do?
So I have it. I usually take a look at it before we go to the clients or before we do something with them, just to
Mhm.
kind of get the idea again, refresh my brain on what it is. And no matter if it's an engagement session or if it's the formals of the couples only type of let's talk about only couples, only the bride and groom at that time. You always want to start with something comfortable, something that
Mhm.
is easy, something of them maybe hugging, holding hands, something just to get them into this uh, photography taking, just so they are comfortable in doing the poses. Once they get into they do two or three, four poses that seem so easy,
Mhm.
then you can push. um, but in the meantime, try to keep a conversation going with them. It relaxes everybody. Ask them if it's an engagement session, go into how did they get engaged, go into their own everybody loves talking about themselves. So go even into like what do they do for their work, or anything that you kind of pick up in the conversation. Be alert, be present, listen to them, and then poke for more questions. People love talking about them, then they don't pay attention about this Marcin behind the camera. They just continue conversations with
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
stopping to take a photo.
Yeah, totally. And I see that because sometimes you guys talk, and I'm like, when are we gonna get to this photo? So the thing is it works because it almost like distracts them, right? About because sometimes
Yes.
I set up like lighting or I play with settings, and by having the conversation, I mean it's convenient to have you, but even if I work with client directly, I even have the same conversation. It's just I'm not standing next to them. I usually just like align them or tell them what to do. And as I talk, I fumble with my camera. So sometimes you're playing double duty. And the thing with cheat sheets is like we do get prompted by the poses, right? But like you try to, again, you don't try to replicate exactly what's on the photo. It's more of like a directional thing because I've noticed over time when you show somebody a photo, they try to do exactly what they see,
Yeah.
and it's never natural. So it's almost like, hey guys, like I almost pre-prompted with this phrase of like, this is kind of where we're going, but like, can you just hug or can you just kiss? Because
Yeah.
if you start directing them in terms of how to kiss or how to hug, like people hug differently, people kiss differently, people stand with their family, whatever, the personal space is different between family to like from family to family. So it's more of a give them directions instead of giving them exactly what they need to do because that never works. Would you agree?
I agree 100%. You always want to look at what they feel comfortable in, and you're just there, kind of like you said, giving them direction, and the rest you have to pick up on their vibes
Yeah.
and work with that. This The more attentive you are to them and what they feel comfortable with and not, the better pictures, I think. You
Yeah,
know.
true, true, and a lot of times, so this is before I even ask the third question. It's sort of like a two and a half question. Um, eh, the couples when they think of like their formal pictures, the day off, right? And this is we're talking, prior to the actual event, and the same is for portraits, seniors, headshots, corporate, everything. Like you have this you have this you have this not illustration, but like you almost have like a visualization, like a, you think of your form almost certain way, like you can almost imagine that session. Then they show up and they're all like overwhelmed because there's a lot going on, a lot of people. Like sometimes if it's a loud group, like we have to get a little louder and instruct, and sometimes couples like shut down and they rely on you, right? Because like, all right, just tell me what to do, right? Like they're not as creative anymore, right? So I know like you're very often, or me when I deal with a client directly, we have to be this motor of like, but it's almost like a little script that you're running in your head, because you, after a while, after you do 5, 10, like it just, you kind of know what works, right? So a lot of times, yes, we work off of the Pinterest cheat sheet in combination with our shots, but a lot of times, like you have a good library of probably poses in your head already where you can just say, yeah, switch, let's just do this, or let's just do this.
Yes, correct. With time, you just build it, and with time you also develop your shots. Your shots, as I mean, I know what looks really good almost at every wedding, so I always go to that. Um, and because we work together, no matter who you work with, you will know what works with the photographer as long and with the couples, and that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, makes sense. The next question there is, so yes, so you're there with a couple, you kind of instruct them, they know what to do, you get them going, and then comes the difficult part, because right now it's like there's family, right? We have the couple now, we have the bridal party, depending, could be 4 people, could be 14 people, right? So it's not uncommon to have 12 girls and 12 guys, and on top of it we have some close family members. So before we even congregate people there, I know a lot of times you usually yell it out, you instruct who should be at the picture taking sort of event. So you already filter the group, right? It's not like everybody from the church, like, hey guys, come back, picture time. You actually instruct them, right?
Correct. So this preparing the preparing of the formal shots actually starts when I'm with, let's say, because I'm usually with the guys, you're with the bride. Um, it starts there already because you get a chance to meet the parents. So I already tell the parents there that we'll be taking, after the ceremony, we'll be taking immediate photos of the family right after,
Yep.
for them to remain or come back to the church. And I leave it up to the parents, as well as the siblings of the bride and groom, to let the family members know, the immediate family members know, so they can come back to the church. Um, that's on the groom side. And then
Okay.
for the bride side, right after the ceremony, I do the same thing. I go up to the parents, or I go up to the maid of honor. I let the word out, saying, who to stay, and for everybody, for the immediate family to stay behind.
Yeah, I think it's good to involve somebody, because, and I know we a lot of times, even maybe you're a single photographer, you don't have somebody to help you out. And if I'm doing this, like you can, you literally can just grab somebody from the bridal party, or best is usually a sibling, right? But if the
Correct.
sibling is either not cooperative or drunk or who knows what's going on, you can just grab somebody. Like there's usually a bridesmaids that's super helpful. There's usually some, one guy out of out of the bunch that's super helpful. Sometimes it's just somebody from the family that, like, you can kind of sense it. They're like, oh, are you looking for somebody? Let me go and grab them. And by asking this term that you use, like immediate family means a lot of things to different people, right? Like from what we have
Correct.
noticed, one family may say it's just mom, dad, like obviously the bridal party, right? And sometimes grandparents, sometimes godparents, sometimes we deal with different situations. There's actually a specific question for that. Like, what if parents are divorced and there is like second quote unquote family present, right? So we'll talk about that. But when you involve somebody, they usually know the logistics and politics of the family. And when you say that, they usually like kind of give you the nod, like, yeah, no, these guys are coming, but like these guys are not coming.
Yeah.
So it's super helpful, right? So okay,
Yes.
so this is the announcement, and now we're getting into we have the family present, and like how do you go with this sort of bride side, groom side? You know, how do you do that? And even with family photos, you do the same thing because even if it's like three kids, there's a picture of mom and picture of dad and together and group or whatever. So like, what's your take there?
Yeah. So I call it layering. I love to layer things.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we start with bride and groom. We take a couple. I set them up. I have a talk with them one on one. More or less tell them how I'm going to be doing this, so they understand what's happening. I do ask them, this is the time that I take to be one on one with them, and also ask them, is there anybody else, let's say maybe it's family, if they're visiting from a different country that's there, that they want a picture with, or any other arrangements that they would like. This is, I think we're going to be talking about this later, but this is the time where I have those conversations. So then I start, okay, I ask everybody that came for these photos back to the church or wherever we are taking them to have a seat and relax.
hmm
So I start, let's say, with the groom's parents. I
hmm
get the groom parents up. We take a picture. Next, we go with the leave the parents there. Ask for all the siblings to come up,
yeah,
take the picture. After that, I ask for all the siblings, kids or
significant,
wives to come in,
yeah,
significant others, right?
yeah,
We take a
yeah,
picture of that. If there are
yeah,
grandparents, that's when I put in the grandparents as
yeah,
well. Then I ask for the brides, all the family to come up, right? So we have this one
yeah,
big photo. And then I slowly start layering people off.
yeah,
Okay. um, just the same way. So then ask the groom's parents to walk away,
hmm
and their whole family. So then I have a family of the brides, ask the siblings to go away, and we just keep layering off until we have again the bride and groom. At that time, usually we then end up with grandparents that only want picture with one of the
hmm
groom or bride. So we do that. A lot of the times we also ask the groom to step out and have a picture with the bride and her parents, or the
hmm
groom stays and the bride steps to the side and there's a
yeah,
picture of the parents. I do this all by layering. People catch onto it very quick and they're alert. And once you are done with one group, I
hmm
do tell them that they are all set and they may go. So this gives us a little bit less people in the church or in the small area wherever we're taking these photos, and it
hmm
quiets down a little bit. And I also see at that time that the bride and groom relax too, because they don't feel like they're holding up everybody.
yeah, makes sense. And this is actually this is a good time for this next question, which is you said a lot of people, and sometimes we have some extra people there, extra characters, and a lot of sometimes not often, but sometimes people don't listen to instructions, to directions. And when you say closest family, sometimes we have some uncles and aunts, and we'll talk about people that like long travelers. That's a different story. But there are people there, like usually, sometimes asking you like, hey, can I have a picture with the bride? Obviously, everybody's there for the same reason, to be as close to the bride and groom as possible. And like, how do you handle those requests? And we have scenario A where, let's say, we have time. Option B is we don't have time. Option C is we have time, but bride is like, like, so let's start with A. We have time. What do you do?
So if we have time, I go through my regular sequence first to make
Mhm.
sure that we get the immediate
Yep.
family.
Yep.
And then when we have time, I always go up to the bride and groom, always get their approval for the picture that somebody else tells you in your year that they want, and say, listen, we have time, to bride and
Yeah.
groom,
Yeah.
your aunt and uncle wants a picture only with you, or blah, blah, whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
And they appreciate you being the filter.
Yeah.
And then we take those pictures on, right, once we get our routine immediate family pictures done. So we bring on the others, whoever they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. So
um
go ahead.
that's when we do have time.
Then when we do, yeah, have time. But one question there I need to sneak in. Or actually clarification. So when you say you do the family first, it's really the family and the bridal party, right? So it's almost like we know we have the set of like everything we have to do, and after that, if somebody is asking extra, for extra photos, this is when you ask. I just wanted to make that
Yes.
clear that it's not family, then catering to people, and then bridal party. Bridal party wants to just probably jet and take on a bus and whatever they do there, party, drink, celebrate. But the thing is, so we have time, and you work with the bride and groom, let them kind of decide, and you're the filter.
Correct.
Now we don't have time, and you do have people there asking, and you do know that they're important. What do you do?
If we don't have time and I know they're important, I do apologize. I let the bride and groom know. I
Mm-hmm.
apologize, and I do make sure I catch them at the reception. So
Yeah.
this is when we have to sneak it into the reception. um, some people get upset, some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the bride and groom says, did they, I tell them we don't have time. They don't care. If it's because we need to leave the church, we'll
Yeah.
leave the church and stand
Yeah.
in front of the church and take pictures of those people, because it's important to the bride and groom as well. So always run it by your bride and groom. And there are going to be times where it's not going to be the way that you want the photographer. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we're there to serve bride and groom,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Clients, yeah, that's important. And two things there. One is like client is the king, right? I mean, they dictate in the end what they want to do. Even if we push the envelope, even if we're like late a little bit, sometimes it's just like, oh, we don't have time because the dinner won't be ready. But like, yeah, the
Yeah.
catering will wait. They'll figure it out. Like they won't start without you.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they dictate. And a lot of times, part of the, I'll add a little bit here about client meetings. By the way, there's another episode on the YouTube channel if you want to check it out, how I run my client meetings. But the thing is, in the meeting, I can also kind of prompt it to say, foremost, they usually take like how big is the wedding party. If they say, hey, it's 6 and 6 on both sides, it's like, yep, there's definitely an hour, maybe hour and 15, depending on how far you want to go. And like we sometimes will have to stop. And I got to tell you, my observation, general feedback is, yes, there are couples that you kind of just like, okay, they want it, let's just do it, and let's just move on. And there are couples that most of the time we run into couples where they would just say they would actually appreciate it, right? Because they don't want to be the ones telling the guests like, we don't want to do it. It's like a personal thing. This is through photographer, they can blame it on us, and it's totally fine, and we can then just kind of whatever do what we do. So yeah. And then the third one is people are asking, but like bride and groom totally are not into it. Do you kind of like tell them, hey, at the reception, and we never kind of get to that point? Like, what do we do?
So again, you're the filter. And what happens is you tell them that you can't right now. You're very sorry. We will take a look at the reception and hopefully catch you there to take the picture. And at the reception, this is the truth. At the reception, everybody gets happy, uh, has a couple drinks, and nobody wants to take a picture after. And sometimes the bride and groom actually change their mind as well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
so so it works both ways, but you're the filter. You're the person that says, no, sorry, not right now. Let's take a look at the reception, how much time we have there to do this.
Yeah. And since you brought it up, I'll actually switch because we've answered two questions really here. But like, one is we're at the reception, and this is a good example. Couples are like, they were never talking about table shots, and then they approach you, bride says, hey, we were actually thinking we were going to do table shots. And for us, it's a hit or miss, depends. Some crowds cooperate, some crowds don't. How quote unquote anal you are with making sure we have everybody there? Do we account for 100%, or do we just kind of like do the best we can? Because obviously, if you have 300 people there, it's impossible to capture everybody.
Correct. So you have a very small window of time to do your table shots and to have the most people at these table shots. This
Mhm.
is usually at the cost of dinner. So the bride and groom usually gets fed first. You wait for them to eat. Once they're done, once they put that fork down, you
Yeah.
got to grab them and you got to start taking pictures. Yes, there will be sometimes in the middle of people eating,
Hmm.
but once dinner is over, people are on the go. It is so hard to get them back to sit down. And no, we don't look for 100% table. um, as long as the majority of people are there, we take a picture. As you take one picture, I go to the next table. Sometimes it works great because they'll send another, oh, he just went outside to have a smoke, right? And somebody else runs to the table to get that person, so by the
Yeah.
time you're finished with your table, I have the next table all set up already.
Yeah. Makes sense. Now, the big question. So sometimes different family dynamics, weird situations, setups, people are divorced. Most of the time, things work out and everything is great. Sometimes we run into those exceptions where something is not working out. How do you handle that with? Because I usually, when I'm just taking photos and you're there, I usually don't know. How do clients even tell you?
Yeah, so this is where you have to be alert and listen. That's one thing. Next thing is you got to look around and see the dynamic. You're in a perfect opportunity when you go to take pictures of the bride or
Yeah.
the groom. You're not only there to take the pictures, talk to people, find out, you'll they'll naturally tell you the situation that's going on there. So that's number one, you're already informed by not even really asking, people just telling you. Number two, when you have that moment after the ceremony with the couple and you're setting them up, this is the time that you come up to them, and as you're setting it up, it's one-on-one time with them, and you say, hey, so let's say it's the groom. I see that your dad is here with stepmom, and your, or I never say stepmom because when you get older it's a different situation. So I always say, oh, your dad is here with his partner. I always leave it at that. If it's a good relationship, they will correct me and say, oh, that's my stepmom, and that's perfect. You want them to correct you. So and then I ask, would you like a picture with dad only, or are you okay with
Hmm.
a picture with your dad and mom, or would you like to have two pictures and separate them? I actually take the time to ask them all these questions, and they will tell you.
Oh, Joanna dropped off in a very important moment. Let's see if she's gonna rejoin us. But what she was saying is it's important because she actually froze not so gracefully. Let me switch over. What she was saying is that yeah, and sometimes we overshoot because we, like, depending on the logistics, depending on how many people, sometimes we have to like go back and forth and like shoot the the like she said, the stepmom and dad with the partner or whoever. So sometimes that turns into like a sort of a longer session, just because you have to do it. Let me see, because I don't know if she's knocking here, or is she back? Give me a second, guys. Let me see what's up. Hey, you there? You there? Can you hear us? They she muted she muted herself. You muted yourself. Can you hear me? She can't hear me. But she's smiling. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Microphone. Can't hear you. All right, guys. Let me see if she can dial back in. But back to what I was saying. Sometimes we have to overshoot, so it just adds to the list. But it's totally fine. We still make sure that we cover everybody, and that's really it. The last question, I think I had something for her. Uh, Hold on one second. She's pinging me. Give me one second, guys. Dial back in. Technology. What can I do? All right. So let's see if she can dial back in. But I was. What was it at the very end? So we're finishing. We have those done. I think she covered the dynamics pretty well. I think. Oh, she's back. Let's see. Let's see and switch. And let's see if she's back. Can you hear us?
Yes, again.
We couldn't hear you. I saw you, but I couldn't hear you. So I basically said sometimes this dynamic of family and the politics and like this guidance. I don't know. As you were saying, this. I was listening. I was laughing internally because I'm like, you got to be a woman because like I'm so like in the mode of shooting that I never know what the family dynamics are. And even when I talk to people, like I don't know, it's got to be like a cat versus a dog nature of like I don't know. You
Okay.
guys just pick it up maybe more naturally. Um, we've talked about the gatekeeper, so we've covered that. I believe there was one more. When we do the formals, we did kind of talk about it, but let's revisit. How do you make the couple look their best? So this is after the church, after we were done with the portraits. A lot of times we do the same setups when we do the formal. So we leave the church and then we do the, with bridal party, we have certain setups. Like, we just go through that routine. Again, we work off of the cheat sheets. We know kind of what works. We experiment a little bit. And then it's just the couple alone. And I know at that point we're asking them to do different things, whether it's like walking together and holding hands and like lean against this, lean against her, lean against him, look at her, look at him. So and very often in the end, like you can kind of sense when it's enough, because we always play this balance of like we got to make sure that we have to make sure that we deliver to the client, even if they're a little tired, right? Like, so how do you make sure that they are tuned in, that they listen to you, they follow you, and also how do you sort of see that, like, okay, we're getting to the end, but like we have to finish those things. And I know you also check with me, so can you give us 2 cents on that?
Yeah, so of course, internally, we have our own list that we're looking for between you and me, right? We need pictures of the whole wedding party. We need the pictures, sometimes pictures of the bride with each bridesmaid, groom with each groomsman, the bride with the groomsmen, and so forth. So we have a checklist that we do ourselves. And as we do these photos, we sometimes take the opportunities to just do a picture first of the couple, and then we layer in again people. So once we're done with the bridal party, we ask them to leave. We have again one-on-one time with the bride and groom. But yes, at this time, sometimes they are tired.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they are ready to go back. And sometimes they have that pressure in their head about, oh, the caterer said I have to be back by this and this time. So, knowing this, we already say, hey, you guys, I know that it's been a little bit, but we just got to take a few more pictures of you guys alone, and then we are all done. So you address that because that's in their head,
Yeah.
and they will be like, yeah, 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 okay, okay. And once they know that you're on the same field and same mindset as they are more willing to do these things, okay? And then it's between you and me. We also go quickly, okay, we got this and this and this and this. How many do we really need?
Yeah.
Because you can shoot, but there's a certain limit of the things that
Yeah.
if you're pushing them at the end and their head is not in it, you're not going to get the pictures anyway,
Correct.
you know?
Yeah. It shows in pictures. Yeah.
So yeah, at that time everybody leaves, it quiets down, you talk to them, you acknowledge their worry that they may be having, and you start shooting again. At this point they should be more relaxed already to the way that you take pictures, in case you haven't got a chance to do a engagement session with them. And things should run a little bit smoother and faster.
Hmm.
Don't drag them all over the place. Pick an area, two or three different locations, and just change two or three poses. That's it
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And I think last one is most because there's like energy with weddings and couples show up, they're into each other, and usually when it comes to photos, like they're laughing, they're interactive, they there's this like positive vibe. But sometimes you hit a client that it's like a wall, right? And even though I haven't like sometimes I was looking at photos, I'm like, oh, it's not like I wish we could like extract more.
Yeah.
Um, but you deliver it, and I guess they know that they're this way. So I never had a client coming back like, well, why don't I look as happy as the other people? Like they kind of know, but like, is it painful for you to take client like this, or you just kind of like, no, just pose one, pose number two, pose number three? Like, how does that work?
It all goes back to seeing what the client is comfortable with. Let's say if it's the groom that feels uncomfortable standing alone or standing,
Hmm.
you we I don't know if you, sometimes maybe you don't even notice, I always go for the poses where he leans against the wall and shoot from all different angles, kind of move the bride around him,
Yeah.
or have him. A lot of people don't know what to do with their hands when they're uncomfortable taking pictures. Their hands will always show it, right? So that's
Yeah.
when you, okay, put your hands in your pocket, or if you're
Yeah.
standing with the bride, hold the flowers, hold the, we all do this. This is all just being in the moment and aware of the people that you are working for, and being okay as the person that's arranging them and shooting, that not every couple will be the best pictures ever.
Yeah.
But like
No.
you said, there's always pictures that come out great, always.
Yeah, 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 true. And the secret there is you have to, right now, our I'm trying to get the two daughters into shooting photography, and the mistake number one that they would make is just take single photos of the subject. So they would just point and click, and it's like sometimes it's in the in between moments. Like it's funny how it works, but like sometimes I'm looking through viewfinder and I know I'm not gonna get the first photo, but I still fire off the shutter just so they can hear, because I know right after that they know it's like, oh, photo taken, and they almost go from this like fake smile to natural
Yeah.
smile. So you almost have to like make sure that it's like click the first one. You sometimes I even make a comment or something to like relax them, and they're like, oh, okay, and like you take that photo like that's what it is. So overshooting is important, just if you're curious, um if I had to like number in my head is usually 4,000 photos from an event. When I shoot family like stuff, 700 to 1100 from a family session, especially when there are kids involved. Kids are man all over the place. That's why I don't do baby photography, because I would go nuts. Because you can't, in the last controlled environment, because it's a baby. It's unpredictable. Can't tell it to calm down.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think, is there anything else that's like on top of your mind, like somebody would have to know when they're going into it for the first time or first couple times?
I think the most important is to develop a good relationship with your client.
Yeah,
It makes it so much easier. It makes it easier on you, as well as makes it easier on the client.
yeah,
So if it's possible to meet with the client before the wedding to do some engagement
yeah,
session, that would be great. It teaches both of you how each one of you works,
yeah,
and makes that wedding day much easier. If not, then give yourself a little bit more time when you go to the bride or to the groom to build that relationship at least a little bit.
yeah. And tip, it's more of a business tip for you guys. Like, even if you're not, some people get stuck with like, what do I charge for engagement session? Do I tell them, is it going to be more? Like, figure out the number that you would charge for the wedding and the engagement session. Let's say you're charging, $3,000 for the wedding, and you're thinking about $350 for the engagement session. What I would say is bundle that in together, charge
Hmm.
$33.50 for the whole thing, and say, if you sign up by end of whatever, you have 2 weeks. If you do that, you get the engagement session for free. This way, you have something that forces client to like this, fear of missing out on the deal, and you get the engagement. And I got to tell you, Joanna's right. Like when you get the chance to work with, that's the best way to do it. If you can't do that, the secret is really when you get there, have small conversations. Like it was hard for me because I'm like an introvert, can probably tell right now. But the thing is, I'm not a good small talk person. So, but I would like inject something here and there, or like comment or respond, and people open up with you, especially when you're in the morning, like during preparation time. Super easy
Yeah.
because you can just kind of get into the different conversations. People get comfortable with you, and when the time comes for formals, that's helpful. If you're doing family or images or portraits, talk about them. Like that's really the secret, right? Like if they
Yeah.
come to a photo session, like, oh, where are you guys coming from? Like, oh, that side of whatever the state. Like, great, my aunt lives there. And it's like, and they'll lead the conversation. Don't make it overpowering. They'll listen to you, and to you directing them. But if you can focus on them just for a little bit. If they're with kids, talk about kids. Talk about something you can relate to, right? Whether you have your kids or your nieces the same age or whatever. So try to find the just to relax them a little bit. Take their head off of photos, right? Everybody is like stressed out. They show up, they don't know what to expect, and it's like if you make them relaxed and start, like Joanna said at the beginning, with super easy poses. Like all you have to do, you're just gonna walk, like no
Yeah.
posing, just walk. Grab your hands and walk. I'm gonna be standing over there. You guys are walking, not looking at me. Just do that, right? The next thing, it's like, all right, now you're just gonna sit down, and it's like, okay, and then you ease them into it. Then it's like, okay, now we're gonna do this combo, this combo, this combo, and then eventually they're fine. So that's it from me. Anything else from you?
No, I would say when you go for a session and you're there to kind of get the people uh, going and aligning, do this with some plan, but don't have expectations and just let it happen.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
true,
that's when it comes out the best.
true. Yeah. So they are relaxed and you're relaxed too.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing the extra sauce. I appreciate you joining us. I know this is super helpful for people that are starting out, and yeah, maybe this is not the last time. I love the extracting information from you. So thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm sure folks appreciate it too.
Of course. Anytime. Goodbye.
All right, thanks. All right, guys. So that was it. This was, I think, it was super helpful. Like I got to tell you, if somebody was there day one to kind of tell me like, hey, here's how it works, and give me the sort of pixie dust on like what is it I do with my clients, that would be great. There was, I think that's it for today. I don't have a topic for next week. I'm sure we're gonna come up with something. Again, I would encourage you leave comments on YouTube or Facebook, and I always revisit. I always respond. I try to unkink you and make sure the water is flowing, making sure you guys are getting closer to your goal with building this thing. For today, this is it. Again, Marcin. Next time we're seeing each other will be Thursday, October 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern. See you guys later. Bye.